This is a recap of the last MeetUp, the pitch sheet, which is a list of questions which helps you understand what your story's about for the actor or the writer. So I suggested 2 stories to look at. 1, Legally Blonde, and 2, Groundhog Day. So what we did to begin with is we looked at the character scheme of both. So in Legally Blonde, we had the hero as Elle, Reese Witherspoon, the villain as Vivian, though who's the rival girlfriend to her boyfriend, that becomes the lawyer later on. The mirror, and it's a sort of it's a mirror that actually sort of almost disappears at the end in a way, but it's her 2 friends from home, her 2 Delta New, whatever they're called, friends who wear a lot of pink. Though Vivian, the villain, becomes the mentor later on. The true mentor is the teacher at the start, the woman teacher who seems a bit tough, a bit hard with her, but eventually inspires her to keep going when she's thinking of giving up. And the goal was Warner, who was the boyfriend who she began this mission to get back, but that goal changes. She lets go of him as a romantic goal, and another romantic goal emerges, which is Emmett Owen Wilson, or the other Wilson, what's he called? The blonde. The character scheme of Groundhog Day, the hero is Bill Murray. The villain is himself. His mirror, he has no mirror, he has no friends, so the mirror is none. The mentor is none, though we also talked about, well, because he's got no wise people helping him. Though in many ways the concept that the repeated time is like a metaphysical mentor. So he's in a way he's surrounded by a mentor teaching him a lesson, but not the character mentor. For we'd have to put the goal, Rita, as being Rita and what's she called? From 4 Weddings. She would be the goal, strictly speaking, though she has mentor qualities, she does teach him. Okay, so onto the pitch sheet for both these stories. So the pitch sheet is looking at, so we say the title, the genre, where and when, who's it about, what do they want, what stops them, and at the end, well, how does it end, and what do we learn? So those are the questions we're looking at. So what we got for Legally Blonde, so title Legally Blonde, genre, comedy, romance, and almost, you could say, we talked about this idea of a feminist piece as a genre, i.e. there are things that happen in perhaps a feminist genre which almost might not be true to real life, which sounds strange to say, but in the same way that science fiction isn't often true, but it's more how we wish things would be. So it contains an element of wish fulfillment and fantasy, which in a way it's almost like the new genre. The time and the place, it's present day USA in LA, and then in Harvard, up near Boston, at the little town of Cambridge outside Boston, just across the river from Boston. So university campus. The protagonist is Elle, who outgoing, is, fun, fashionable, blonde, and interior-wise, she's motivated, conscientious, kind. So she's a very heroic person, but we could also say fearful as well. Fearful that what she projects is actually something that undermines her. So she's got that fearful element. The goal is to get Warner back, to get her boyfriend back. He dumps her, and so she decides to get into Harvard Law in order to win him back. And then the goal changes to winning the case. She gets, the second half of the film is a court case. The obstacles is people don't take her seriously, there's some sexism, a physical obstacle is taking the exam to get into Harvard Law. Another physical obstacle is the rival, the Vivian, her boyfriend's new girlfriend. And the facts of the case become an obstacle when she starts to fight this case, the evidence, so the daughter of the accused woman, things like this. The resolution and what's learned, well, another obstacle we talked about was her naivety, which we could put in the category of who, as in who she is, which she learns to overcome. So at the end, she wins the case and decides not to be with Warner, but gets together with another guy, and she befriends the woman who was her rival. And that's like the feminist idea that the guy was treating them both badly, and then they realise that they have a bond. So her goal to win the boyfriend back kind of just disappears, really. She realises she doesn't need him, and it becomes about bonding with the sisters. And what's learned is, we could say, if you're honourable, that will be honoured. Have faith in yourself was a key and spoken message of the film. And then there's things like, if he can't see it, he ain't worth it. So there's that kind of thing. Okay, let's move on to Groundhog Day. So the genre is comedy romance, and we could say, we might mention the time aspect, which relates to theme, like the feminism thing relates to the theme in Legally Blonde. I was going to say time travel, but it's almost like time lack of travel. He's stuck in time. Time and place, it's present day, which was the 80s when it was filmed, from the late 80s. Small town USA. Punxsutawney. The protagonist is Phil, who's a weatherman, sort of 40-something weatherman, who's cynical, comic, but inside he's lonely, frustrated, and miserable. Yes. What's his goal? What does he want? Well, in the main body of the film, he wants to get out of Punxsutawney. He wants to break the spell of this time thing, which keeps him trapped. And then it becomes about him wanting to win, wanting to have sex with Andy McDowell, the goal. And then it changes again, his goal, to wanting to make the most of each day. The obstacles are the time thing he's stuck in. His inner obstacles are his own attitude, his cynicism, his dismissal of people, and the other big outer obstacle was the snow. So at the end of Act 1, or halfway through Act 1, they're driving out of town. So Phil's happy, he's leaving town, which is what he wanted to do, and then there's a big snowfall. So they have this big physical obstacle which keeps them in the town. The end, well, he finds love, he gets the girl, time continues. So he succeeds, you could say. Just like in Legally Blonde, she succeeds, which is always the end of every comedy. Every comedy, the ending is, and they succeed. / marry, find love. And tragedy is the opposite. So what's learned? Be kind. Make the most of each day. You've got to treat each day like a gift. But it's a gift that you have to make the most of. You have to make work. It's like a child who leaves home and wonders why there's no Christmas. Well, because mum and dad bought the Christmas tree. And in a way, as an adult, you have to buy your own Christmas tree. And it's about realising that if you want love, you have to be selfless, and you have to make an effort. And it should be born of... You will attract people when you start to find love for others and yourself.